has expanded himself to be exactly like the boys and the cows. And now, because he's gone home and everybody thinks that their son is their son, when in fact it's Krishna, and the cows think that the cows are thinking that their cows are their regular cows, when in fact it's Krishna. And because it is Krishna, they are all the cows, and then the parents of the boys are giving so much love to their infants, just like they love Krishna, the extent to which they love Krishna. And Balaram, the plenary expansion of Krishna, is looking at all of this and going, what is going on here? I'm looking at cows and calves, and I'm looking at cowherd boys that I've always known. We go out, we play together. Now, their parents are giving too much love to them, just like Krishna. So what's going on here? Now, first thing that Balaram assumed, it must be Yogamaya, which is definitely any pure devotees immediately they say, if they are at that point where they're relating to Krishna, must be some pastime. Krishna is standing next to him. In the meantime, he hasn't said anything. Okay? But Balaram has noticed that the affection has become a little too much from the way it normally is, up to the level of the way they love Krishna. So it must be something different here. And I know Krishna, and he was pulling something, and I need to find out what it is. So now the point is, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He uses Yogamaya. He's not affected by Yogamaya. Krishna is not. Balaram is the first expansion. Also, all of them up to the Vishnu form, none of them is affected by Yogamaya. They can't be, unless they want to pretend that it's affecting them. But they are supreme. Krishna is supreme, Balaram is supreme. So the rest of them can be affected by Yogamaya, and they're completely affected by Yogamaya, and they don't know what's going on. They can relate any way Krishna wants them to relate through Yogamaya, but not Balaram. Balaram may be confused at first, but he'll figure it out. The same thing, with situation with Kaliya, you can get one pastime after another. Balaram figured it out. Even in the other pastimes involving Lakshman and Sita and Ram, again, as Lakshman, he figures things out. He figured a lot of things out. So he may be bewildered a little bit. Krishna does that. But because he's really not affected by Yogamaya, somehow he's going to figure it out. And so this is the beginning of Balaram trying to figure it out, because he's seen, no, this relationship between the cows and the calves is higher than normal, and it's up to the level of the relationship with Krishna. This relationship between the cowherd men and the women and their sons is not normal. It's a little higher than what they used to. Not only higher, but higher up to the point they normally express to Krishna. So he knows something is wrong, but something sweet at the same time. If something is different, but it's loving, can you fight that? Of course not. It's nice. Krishna pulling something. So that's what he's saying. Now, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, this increase of affection, was not Maya. Rather, because Krishna had expanded himself as everything, and because the whole life of everyone in Vrindavan was meant for Krishna, the cows, because of affection for Krishna, had more affection for the older cows than for the new cows, and the men increased in their affection for their sons. So that's kind of a long sentence. So let's look at it. This increase of affection was not Maya. Now, what Srila Prabhupada meant, this increase of affection was not Mahamaya. Because it was Yogamaya for sure. There's Yogamaya and Mahamaya. Yogamaya is the one that bewilders those pure devotees and those in the spiritual world for purposes of Krishna having his pastimes. The cowherd boys were constantly on the Yogamaya every day, because a demon would come and Krishna would kill the demon. So they know Krishna can kill the demon, but they don't know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So automatically that's Yogamaya. They see Krishna as the wonderful, loving friend, and he's so powerful, he's so heroic. That's their hero. Every time he kills it, and he kills every demon sent by Kamsa in a different way. So it's like every time they watch a movie, literally. So in the meantime, this is happening, that the demons of the earth are being removed one by one. Krishna came to do that, to satisfy Mother Bhumi, because Mother Bhumi was the one that complained that there were so many demons, and Krishna do something about it. And he came. So that is happening, because one by one, every demon that's killed, the world becomes a less troublesome place, because that demon can't affect now the citizens anymore. And it cuts down a little bit of Kamsa's rule. Now, at the same time, the cowherd boys are having fun. They are on the one type of Yoga Maya, because they're watching Krishna kill these demons every time just before lunchtime. So it's regular. The demons come between 10, Radha Maya says, between 10 and 12 in the morning, one of them will appear. Some unusual phenomenon, and they always come with their own unusual phenomenon. So the weather may change. I mean, it's huge. The clouds sometimes get affected. The sky sometimes get affected. The earth shakes sometimes, depending on how big that demon is. But it's always a different. So a different demon. So every time after 10 o'clock to about 11, they're tending to the calves and having fun and playing. And the weather changes a little bit. They go, oops, here comes another one. They know. And then that thing appears. And whatever the demon is in the shape, it could be a bird, it could be a snake, it could be a horse. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. Krishna is going to perform his activity. So they are under that type of Yoga Maya. And then when they go home and tell their parents, Mata Pita, this is what happened today, right? And the parents don't know what to think. They don't know what to think. Another form of Yoga Maya. Because Krishna has now stretched the Yoga Maya. Everybody in Vrindavan, anyway, with the exception of Balaram, doesn't know that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Krishna. And for that matter, Balaram. Everybody's on the Yoga Maya, including Nanda Maharaj and Madhurish, all of them. And so this pastime is wonderful pastime is unfolding. So when Krishna kills a demon and therefore liberates that demon, they're also going back to Godhead. So the cowherd boys enjoy it. They go home. That's one kind of Yoga Maya, because they don't know that that's the Supreme Personality of Godhead doing this. They go home. They tell the parents. The parents, what is this? Now, I could, with kind of little thinking, stretch this a little bit and say, if the parents checked, like one household to another, one household had one cowherd boy living there, another household had another cowherd boy. Now, if the parents checked, they will find that the cowherd boys are saying the same thing, because they all saw the same thing, the same activity. So in one way, they don't know whether they should believe it or not. But you will hear the same story in every household. So what do you do? Are they really telling lies? Well, how come they're all telling lies, the same lies? It can't be. So it must be right. But Krishna is too small to kill a demon like that. So you see the other kind of Yoga Maya they are also in. They can't back out of it. The story is consistent in every household. That's also another problem for the parents. Now you take it another level, as if that's not bad enough. Now the parents themselves going, but my boy is such lovable now. I'm loving him like Krishna, and I don't know why. So another Yoga Maya trouble. Even now the cows are involved. They are also giving so much love to the cows. Now, here's a distinction with the cows that Srila Prabhupada made. He said the cows had more affection for the older cows than the new cows. Now, why does Srila Prabhupada make that point? The new cows, the little ones, the newborns, don't go with the cowherd boys. The other cows that's grown a little bit, those are the ones that are free to run around. They go with the cowherd boys and Krishna and Balaram. So the little ones are with their mothers, sucking their breasts. Otters, right? Feeding on the otters, right? So they didn't have that kind of affection because they were the real little cows. They weren't changed by Krishna. But the other one that's higher, they got changed by Krishna. That's the one that's real Krishna. So the the cows, right? The older cows, that ones that Lord Brahma has stolen. So they are Krishna now at home. And the very new cows, they didn't go through that pastime. So they were the regular ones. And that's why the Prabhupada is making that distinction that the cows loved the older cows, which was Krishna, not the little cows that were just feeding. That was the real one. So you see, this is all intimate, intimate things that they're going through. Hmm? So that's why that's why the cows will lick the older cows and not the little cows. Because the little cows are not Krishna. The older cows are Krishna. Hmm? I don't know why we're here in this material where we need to go to the spiritual world and have so much fun, because the entire thing is Krishna is so intimate the way he does things. And that's why Satyavrat Muni says, I would just stay with Krishna's pastimes as a little boy because there's so much there. So much there. Hmm? So, Damodar Asaka, he speaks like that. So, Shri says, not to continue, Balaram, now see, it's all on Balaram now. This is all running through Balaram's mind too. He's noticing all of this. Balaram was astonished to see all the residents of Vrindavan so affectionate towards their own children, exactly as they had been for Krishna. Well, we know why, because they are Krishna. Similarly, the cows had also grown affectionate towards their calves as much as toward Krishna. Same reason, because Krishna now was taking the form of all the cows, the older cows. Balaram was surprised to see the act of Yogamaya. Balaram was surprised to see the act of Yogamaya. So he himself is not affected. He's just seeing that it has to be Yogamaya. But since he's not affected, so he started inquiring, hey, Krishna, what are you doing? What are you doing this time? Okay. What's happening here? What is this mystery? It obviously is mysterious, but it wasn't about to fool Balaram because Balaram is not affected by Yogamaya. That's the point here. Now, so what about all of this? The bottom line for all of this is Krishna accepting the love from the residents of Vrindavan. They want to love him more than they normally do in terms of time. You see, during the day, they all get to love Krishna. At night, Krishna and Balaram go to Mother Yashoda's house, Mother Rohini's house. They don't get to have that affection anymore. Every night, they miss that. So the love is there, but the nighttime, their love is separation because he's not there. But Mother Yashoda gets all the love, though, day and night. So they wanted a little more. And that's why Krishna, being sensitive to that, decided to pull this, and he does several things at once. He's going to bewilder Lord Brahma, and at the same time, give the love that they want, the extra love that they want, that these residents of Vrindavan want. And for that matter, even the gopis. We could expand a little bit. There was one time in the Gaga Samhita that is described that the gopis had rasa dance, nighttime rasa dance, and even how it's all set up. That's a whole story by itself. But let me get to that. It's very, very, very funny. Ujjal Nimani, talks about different gopis and how they whistle and get all kinds of things to get Radharani to sneak out and come. All of that. That's another thing. But one time, the gopis were having so much fun with Krishna and Radharani that when it came time to go back, they have to go early in the morning and get back in their beds, they didn't want to go. They wanted to enjoy or let Krishna enjoy them more because everybody serves Krishna. And so they told Krishna, can we continue? So just like this, it was unusual. Daytime is supposed to go home. Krishna decided, all right. So rather than have it that one night, he extended it to one night of Brahma. That's 4,320,000 years. Continuing the pastime that night for that long. And then they went home the next day. And when everybody got up, they thought it was just a regular next day. But Krishna knew that he had actually let the gopis enjoy with him for a night of Brahma rather than a regular, 12-hour night. 12 hours by Lord Brahma standard, which is long. So see, every time, the point we're making is every time those in Vrindavan want to express further love for Krishna, he arranges for it to happen. So this is again nighttime. This is a nighttime. Nighttime they don't get to see Krishna because Krishna is going home. And so he decided, okay, so I'll come to their houses, and the entire relationship, just like Yashoda and Nanda Baba get to enjoy with me and Balaram, I'll do the same thing for them. So then he expanded, himself to the cowherd boys and cows. So Krishna is that loving. The conclusion is, if we want to come to Krishna Prema's Krishna Prema platform, Srila Prabhupada says a person that has developed Krishna Prema has purchased Krishna. That's what purchasing Krishna means. If you purchase Krishna, then Krishna is your property. So now if you want him to do something, he's going to do it. But it takes love, though, intense love, for Krishna to agree to do that. And so that's what the Prabhupada says. Bhakti, Krishna Prema, is not so easily attained. Because if Krishna Prema is easily attained, now whatever they want, Krishna will have to do. The situation with the Battle of Kurukshetra, Bhishma is a highly elevated devotee, also in Krishna Prema platform. Now, Krishna said he wasn't going to fight. Bhishma says, you are going to fight. He changed Krishna's program. He could do that because he was at the level of Prema. And therefore, Krishna changed it so that he could satisfy Bhishma by always going to kill him. And at the same time, he didn't kill him because the sun set. And when the sun set, the war is supposed to be over. Therefore, he didn't actually kill him. All right. But at least he was going to satisfy that. At least the video that I saw, that's what it said. Video of Mahabharata. So he satisfied Bhishma's request. Now, after Arjuna, several times Arjuna was playing the really pucker kind of person, going by the rules that you don't do this, and the Kshatriya code, and throughout the whole Mahabharata, Mahabharata, yeah. But then the Kurukshetra war, Krishna agreed to everything. All right, you want to go kill Jayadratha? All right, you made a promise. If I don't kill you, I will actually step in the fire the next day. Without any permission from Krishna, whether it's going to happen or not, he's put it out. And Krishna is going to try to make it happen. The military, Duryodhana, all of them, and for that matter, what's the Dronacharya, all of them, they arranged, this is easy. Arjuna is going to kill himself if we protect Jayadratha. That's all we have to do. Because he's put it out. Now we know how we're going to get rid of Arjuna. He's going to just cremate himself or step in the fire if he doesn't kill Jayadratha. So they tried and the Jayadratha has the boon also. So even if he's able to kill Jayadratha and Jayadratha's head falls down, Arjuna's head is going to blow up. He's still going to die. So even Arjuna himself didn't even know that. Still, Krishna tricked these people who have really protected Jayadratha. All of the big soldiers fought back. All of them, Ashwatthama, everybody fought to protect Jayadratha. And so Arjuna was getting nowhere. Arjuna goes, so it looks like I've bitten more than I can chew, because these people are going to protect Jayadratha until all they have to do one day until sunset. And that's it. And so what to do? He got to a point where Arjuna practically gave up because he couldn't fight all these warriors at once. And Jayadratha was being protected. So again, now Arjuna is bewildered. Another Yogamaya situation, right? So then what does Krishna do? Yeah, you can't do anything. Krishna lets the sun set, and it's finished. You have to immolate yourself. You said you immolate yourself. Then everybody frees themselves from Jayadratha because they thought it was over, and now Jayadratha is exposed. And as soon as Jayadratha was, the protection for him was broken up, everybody said, it's over. Now you have to go cremate yourself, Arjuna. He let the sun come back up. Arjuna says, see the sun? It's back up again. And this time, Jayadratha has no protection. So he takes one of those divyastras and chops off the guy's head, and that thing flies all the way up to his father's lap, the one that gave that boon that if somebody's head falls down, his head falls down from somebody, that particular Kshatriya, it's going to be immolated, or the head's going to be blown up. And what happens? They send Jaidra's head, not only that he's dead, send the head all the way up to where his father is making his meditation, and just drops it right on his lap. His father's, what? Something, and he just reacted to it. Jaidra's head falls down, and his father gets blown up. Now that is Krishna, so intimate in so many ways. Mm. So bhakti is a question of love. We're learning how to love Krishna. Those of us here who are conditioned souls, we were first in love with Krishna in the spiritual world, but we also had independence. We've always said everybody has minute independence. Krishna is fully independent. Hmm? Abhigyan Swarat. So, as it says in Bhagavatam 111. So, we also have our little independence. And so, Krishna gives us the right to use it as we like, because love is not forced on me. You can't say, by my order, you have to love me. I have a decree. You can't do that. Love has to be given out of our own hearts. Therefore, Krishna doesn't stop anybody from loving or not loving him. And sometimes we go through this whole thing of, all right, so there's a pastime going on. This is the spiritual world now. And Krishna is being given all the attention because he's the object of love. Everybody serves him. And sometimes it gets to the mind the mind of the soul now begins to say, but why is Krishna getting this attention and not me? Maybe I wish I was at Krishna's level. And as soon as you think that way, well, you can't come to his level, then you have to go to some place where you become the boss then, because you want to become the boss. But you're going to become the boss. You can't become the boss of a spiritual world because there's only one boss. So then you're out of place. So they have to put you in a place where you can think you will be boss. And that's the material world. Right? And so everybody tries to play boss. I mean, at every level, between brothers, between sometimes wives, between women envying each other, or even sometimes it's as bad as the family itself. The father used to have all the power at home. He was the one with the money. He's the one that's fairly young and handsome. And then 10 years, 20 years later, he's become a little old and slow. And 10, 20 years, his little son now is a grown man and he's handsome. This is all on the physical level. The man looks at this, yeah, it's my son, but I wish I was just like, him. There's a pastime, Maharaj Yayati trying to even buy old age from his son. All those crazy things. People feel that way. Or sometimes the daughter. Well, the daughter has a mother. The mother, when the daughter is really a baby, 7, 8, 9 years old, the mother is in the 30s. She looks gorgeous. And then when they get to be 50, now the daughter is 20 something. Now the daughter looks nice. And they walk around, and now you see, you used to wear nice saris and you could see your figure and all of that. Now your figure is a little bit older, and the younger one is the one, your daughter. Now you're looking at it and say, there were days that I was like that. Why was you see? And you start thinking that way. But as a devotee, you have to think, near, as they say in Christianity, nearer my God to thee. I'm coming near you. Old age means death is around the corner. Now, what's death for a devotee? Krishna is going to come take you, old man, old woman, back to the spiritual world where the real fun is. So you really shouldn't look at your younger person, your child, and say, okay, at this point, I'm in my 60s and they're in their 40s or 30s and they look better than me. Well, now 60s means 70 something, you're going to leave the body and you're going to have real fun in the spiritual world. So see, it all boils down to this. If you take Bhakti Yoga seriously, then it doesn't matter if you're old and they look better than you, because that's at a physical level. And you're getting ready to enjoy really well. And if you also take Bhakti seriously, even now, while we're in the material world, Krishna will crank up the sweetness. After all, he says, Ye atama papadante, tamsite papajami aham. The extent to which you surrender, I reward accordingly. So why should you think that you have to get to the spiritual world before you get rewarded? You can do it now. So if we take our chanting seriously, chanting distinctly, And if we take all our services seriously, doing it from the heart, Krishna knows that we're not going to be perfect. I mean, case in point, what didn't happen this morning? A lot of things we had to do, a lot of adjustment. I had to back up computer before it worked, and so many things. But the intent is there. So the mistakes were made, but the intent is good. Krishna only looks out at our intent for service, because our service is not going to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect, but we have to try to do it as well as we can. See, Papa says every service must be first class. Now he knows that we have what kind of senses? We have limited senses. Since our senses are all already are not perfect. So how do you do something perfect with imperfect senses? It's not possible. So that's the unfortunate situation we have with this body, with this physical body. But the fortunate situation is this human body can think and it can chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So it boils down to whatever you can do with these limited senses, do to the best of your ability, and Krishna will give you the reward accordingly. He rewards accordingly in the spiritual world because they are fully submitted to him. So they get full reward all of the time. That's their life. But those of us here, we messed up. And so we are in the material world. But if we give our hearts to the instruction of Guru and follow it, then slowly we will develop love, and then Krishna responds. And he responds by cranking up the love, and you feel very literally there's physical feelings for when Krishna does that. Because you begin to be not bothered by a lot of negative things. That's one you see that benefit, that advantage. You feel literally you're not in much anxiety. Many things happen. Some things can happen right physically or not happen right physically. And you just go right on. Every day can be like that. Every day can you just go right on with it, along with it, and you just chant. And you realize at the very end that what you call the mistakes were also Krishna's plan. So then there's no reason for anxiety. I mean, believe me, we're not talking about these things just theoretically. I've gone through so many times it's happened. The other day, there was another devotee that was giving a lecture, and he described the same thing. He says, don't sweat it. If you literally submit yourself to Krishna, hearing Krishna's name the whole time, now it's got to the point where I'm so convinced that now, practically, if I'm at the house, now that I'm retired, I just take my cell phone and go to YouTube and access Shipapa's chanting, and put it in my head, and then go about my work. The whole time I'm listening to the holy name, the whole time. And this is the last few days I realized, why don't I do it like that? Because the other day we talked about hearing Krishna's name all through the night. They said you can put a cell phone down. I think Mataji, maybe, I don't know, maybe Vinavali Mataji, I don't know, it may have been you. Somebody asked about that. And I said, well, do it on YouTube. So I went on YouTube and I found one that is 10 hours long. 10 hours of chanting. So I know that one is definitely going to cover my day with extra left. So now that's the one that I take during the day also. So 10 hours is pretty long. And I just scroll back to the beginning and Papa will be chanting the whole time. Now, it's at work. If you can do that at work and get away with it, because now I don't have to work outside. If you can do that, fine. If you are COVID-19, because of coronavirus, you have to work from home, easy. Just put it in your head and turn the volume down. You're hearing Papa pure devotee chanting the whole day. Literally. I mean, what could be better than that? At nighttime, you put it on the side of your web and turn it up just enough so you can hear it. Now it's 24 hours. 24 hours. And it's only a couple of days ago that I realized, just thinking about it, that I can do it like that. So the holy name is there. And if you hear the Papa's chanting and then you do your own japa, now, wouldn't Krishna be pleased with you? Wouldn't Guru be pleased with you? Yashat Prasad, Bhava Prasad. Sri Prabhupada said the regular explanation is by the mercy of Krishna, you get Guru. But Sri Prabhupada in another lecture also explained when Guru is pleased, Krishna is pleased. He's given that definition also. Well, now, obviously, if you're hearing the holy name the whole day, wouldn't Guru be pleased? Obviously, they will be pleased. So then, see, it's an easy way to get to Krishna Prema. Easy way. And then if you get to Krishna Prema, well, at some point, Krishna will behave with you just like the cowherd boys are enjoying now. They are in bewilderment. I mean, well, Brahma is in bewilderment. The cowherd boys, the real cowherd boys, are in the cave, and Krishna is having fun with them, with their parents, with the cows and the cowherd men, making himself look like them for 1 year. 1 year. So imagine you are one of the cows or one of the cowherd men, and now you are wishing that Krishna will come to your house. Now he has come, even though you're in Yoga Maya and it looks like your son, but exactly is Krishna. So we have it made. It's just a question of how we use our time. And if you think more about Krishna, you're gonna get more ideas. Just like the things that we're sharing now. It was first cell phone, listen to Prabhupada at night. Then the next thing, I can listen to it during the day too. Why? Why not put it just in my ears and then we go on and on and on and on, right? So it's like that. It's like that. It's a question of how connected you are to Krishna, how much you think about Krishna. So Rupa Goswami says, always think of Krishna, never forget Krishna. Well, now if you're listening to Krishna 24 hours a day, isn't that the solution? You're definitely going to hear about Krishna's holy name 24 hours a day, just with a cell phone. The cell phone. And we never made the cell phone. Materialists made the cell phone. And that's why it brings me to another point. That in a morning walk, and I saw this video of a morning walk, Srila Prabhupada was, of course, with the devotees, right? And at some point, he stopped and he turned around and looked at them. And then he made a point about the Avadut Brahman and the 24 gurus. In Srimad Bhagavatam is 11th canto. It starts with chapter 7 and it goes to 8 and then 9. By the time it gets to 9, all 24 gurus have been described. So Srimad Bhagavatam, canto 11, then 7 is what starts the Avadut Brahman himself. Then 8 and 9 are the 24 gurus. So he took one of them, and first time he said it, I never understood it. That was like years ago, right? So now I understand it a little better. But he told the devotees that, see what they're doing? And we're just walking, everybody's busy working, and we're just walking and chanting the name. And we're using what we're using. You have a microphone, you're recording me. So we don't do these things. We let them do it, and then we take and we use. And so when he said that, I said, Papa, aren't you being a little, in my mind, aren't you a little mean? People produce sense, and you tell your devotees, don't bother with it. Now let them do it, and we're taking them and use it. Then, of course, in reading, it got to a point about the snake as one of the 24 gurus. That's when I began to understand Srila Prabhupada. Now, what does a snake do? Well, in that pastime, the snake has a home, but he never built the home. The mouse builds the home by digging the ground. The mouse makes a hole. The snake can eat the mouse, right? So the snake comes and he goes through the hole, and the mouse runs away, and the snake just takes the place, takes it by himself, just like just like that. In fact, in the purport, I remember it's the Bhakti Siddhanta that made that comment, that like that. And it's a Prabhupada quoted Bhakti Siddhanta, who is a spiritual master. So this snake doesn't really have a home. Doesn't make a home. It doesn't make a home. The mouse makes a home, and that's why by nature the mouse is programmed to dig in a hole from one side and then come out the other side. So he has an entries like, he has, so when the snake comes and he comes on one side, the snake is coming, then the mouse runs the other way and out. And the snake, the mouse has saved his life, but the snake got the place. So that's what the Prabhupada was saying. Let them go on and do it. We'll take it and use it just like we're doing now, right? So everything is really connected in Krishna consciousness. Everything. You can see Krishna consciousness in it if you think about it more seriously. The more you hear and the more you chant, and the more effort you put into chant attentively, the more you begin to realize these connections. See, then everything around you, you can connect Krishna to it. So now we know we can listen to the cell phone all day and all night. You put it down for a night and put it on for a day, and you can chant, and you can chant japa along with it also. You don't have to take it off, because that's chanting with Srila Prabhupada chanting. So the cell phone could be 24 hours for you now, doing the very thing that Rupa Goswami said, always think of Krishna, never forget Krishna. You hear it at night, you have a new year during the daytime. So this is where I started my realization. Only a week ago, I started putting it in my ears for daytime too. And you can change and listen to lectures. It's all right. You can listen to your Papa lectures, or you can sit at the TV and listen to lectures there. So if we use our time the whole day with Krishna somehow infused in it, what happens was, as they say, we replace the lower with the higher. Mm? Replacing the lower with the higher. Mm? The lower is the material. The higher is the spiritual. So we do that. Mm? And then in that way, of course, what we described also says it means that we have a way to hear Krishna 24 hours. And now it means that if you can do that, now say I'm retired, so I can afford to do that. If you can do that, now Krishna, your whole day and your whole night is about Krishna. So now you really are able to hear lectures. You can even hear this Zoom. Later on, when you finish, have something to do. Go grab your cell phone, put it in your ears, have japa, keep going, or play kirtan if you like, or bhajan if you like. You like Kadamba Kanana Swami's voice? Sure. Niranjana Swami's voice? Sure. Radhanath Swami's voice? So Papa's lecture, all to the headphones. And then you go back again when you get you want a little difference, and go back to Papa's Japa, to the whole night. And then in the nighttime, put it down. Next day. So now it's 24. Actually, it's possible to hear it 24 hours, the entire time. And if you do things 24 hours, all for Krishna, see, what we're really saying is, remember we used to accept the fact that the Vrajavasis in Vrindavan, they chant the whole day. All they do is Krishna or Jai Radhe the whole day. Now with electronics, we also can do the whole day, just with the cell phone and the headphones. We also can do the whole day. So now we are at their level in terms of how they spend their time. But we use electronics to the cell phone, which somebody else manufactured. Yeah, like we acting like the snake, taking the work of the mouse. So everything like kind of connects that way. So now, a few things we want to talk about. I'm looking at the time. All right, so it's quarter off. Maybe 5 more minutes. Expressions of love. We took this from Spiritual Warrior 2, which is my Guru Maharaj's lecture, but it has Shastra in it also. Talking about love in general. So Bhakti Swami made the point, modern society is extremely impersonal, which is very true. Each one, they say each one for himself and God for us all. Everybody, some people, their neighbors, they don't even know them. Never talk to them. And I'm in a situation like that. I've seen them, some of them say hi, another person just looks somewhere, doesn't care. That's life. Yet the spiritual world, everybody knows everybody. And everybody is really close to everybody. Real social. Wonderful. So modern society is extremely impersonal. Our mechanized and electronic world keeps us apart from one another as we drive our automobiles, watch our televisions, sit in front of our computers, and work in our sealed offices far from home. See how things have changed now. Look at this statement and compare it to the inhabitants of Vrindavan and how they live. They live real communal. They live real simple. They think about Krishna. They wish Krishna was with them the whole day and night, which Krishna now has fulfilled by becoming a cowherd boy and a calf for their houses. But here we are, mechanized in electronic world, as Bhakti Maharaj was saying. We drive our automobiles. Everybody is, in their own world. Most of the automobiles is one person driving. You don't see too many, even more automobiles with two people in it. One person in it per automobile. So they're by themselves, cut off from everybody. And compare it to the cowherd boys, and they're going to tend to the cows. There's a whole bunch of them with Krishna and cows. That's their work. But our work is one person by themselves driving to go to work. And then we have coronavirus, one person by himself in front of the computer at home. Don't bother me. I'm home, but still don't bother me. The students are like my house right now. I did not know that I have two daughters. My younger daughter was now ready to go back to the classroom in the university. I heard this morning. I saw the bag, the student bag, and I was saying, where are you going? And he's rushing to try to get things. And so she's going to drive the car by herself to the university. So I asked her, Vishaka, where are you going? School. Oh, it's school? How many days? Every day. Really? It's every day. So now Vinda is home. I'm the father, and I'm the father. I'm just finding out. Hmm? Just before 8 o'clock, that my son, my daughter is going to school now. They didn't even tell me. And I'm the one that maintains the cars. And I said, Vishaka, tell me next time. The reason I'm asking is I intended to make some changes. Now there's a particular type of tire that deals with the snow. We have snow here. Snow better than the tires that are on there. And I've been thinking to replace the tires, and I didn't even know because everybody was home, so I didn't bother. And now you're going, so now it's an emergency. I have to order the tires. Now it's no snow outside, but if there is snow and she's returning, she won't make it back. She doesn't know. She's only 19. She doesn't know that I'm thinking about that. But it's so impersonal. And this is my Vaishnavi daughter that plays Mudanga and sings and everything in school. She's gone. And so now I'm finding out, oh, for the first time in all these weeks since this semester, for the first time, they've changed the program, and Penn State is allowing some students to go back. And she's one of those taking a subject. That means that she has to go back to school, real. And my first daughter is behind the computer at home. And I'm in the basement. I have no idea what's going on. I'm preaching. It's so fragmented now. And that's the point Maharaj was making. Anyway, to belabor the point, I shouldn't belabor the point anymore. So Krishna is telling us that simple living, loving relationships are wonderful. And we are missing out, but at least we are hearing about it. So hopefully we will live life chanting seriously, chanting attentively, hearing, and then the other 7, remembering, offering obeisances, do everything with very, very, very good intention. Even if you don't do it perfectly, because sometimes you can't, do it with good intention. And Krishna will give us a chance to go back and be natural again. Hare Krishna. All right, so here's the repeat of the text in English. What is this wonderful phenomenon? The affection of all the inhabitants of Raj, including me means Balaram, towards these boys and cows is increasing as never before, just like our affection for Lord Krishna, the super soul of all living entities. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. So, Hare Krishna, Dona,
Hare Krishna, Friction. What a wonderful class.
Krishna's mercy.
So many points to touch upon. I wish there was enough time to ask questions on each of the topics. I really liked your bringing up the point about how we are we come to this world because we want to be in charge and supreme controller, and maybe I'll put that one aside because today, because the one about the snake, and the snake being the guru, and the mouse, and correlating that to technology.
That's Prabhupada said that. No, I just repeat it. Yeah.
Very, very brilliant. I never. Thank you for excavating that gem and sharing it with us.
Krishna's mercy.
Is there any? So with that, as I was thinking, when you take something from somebody, so in the same way, the snake takes the home of the mouse, and the mouse does all the work. It seems like, especially as devotees, we should have some level of, I guess, gratitude or understanding. It's not just like you just take and then use and then. So, I mean, in one sense, you could say the payment we make, you get a cell phone, you pay $1,000, $500, whatever brand you get. That is a sense of gratitude by paying off the materialist for designing and producing it. But is there any sense, I guess, mentality-wise, a devotee should have as far as gratitude toward material science that we use in Krishna service?
Very, very good question. The only gratitude that you have, in summary, I would just say one sentence. The gratitude that you have, or you should have, depends on whether you yourself dovetail that item for Krishna service. If you don't use it for Krishna service, then you have satisfied your senses. And technology cannot be appreciated then, because it was technology intended for you to use it for your senses, and they just want money from you. They did it for profit. That's all. They don't care whether they don't care about Krishna. But you took it and you acted like the snake in that case, because they were the mouse, they made it, and you used it, but you used it for Krishna service. So everything that you have, you dovetail it for Krishna. That's why we're talking about a cell phone here all night, cell phone and cell phone and headphones all day, and cell phone lying next to whatever bed, thing there, which was also made by materialists. Hmm? Your night tide table, you didn't make it. You just somebody made it. Your bed, somebody made it, right? And you're lying in there, and all night, cell phone that somebody made with a sound that somebody engineered how it came out, but the mantra that came out, the sound was a mantra. That is Krishna. So you just enjoyed that. You enjoyed it in the sense of using the cell phone when you need to use the cell phone. I shouldn't say enjoyed it, but you served with it, basically. You're serving with it by hearing like that. So everything. If you have a treadmill, I'm in the basement, a treadmill to my left side, and I'm looking at it right now. We go on it. Everybody in the house go to the treadmill, except me. They do more frequently than I do. They're younger. But they don't do it. Every one of them does it to keep in shape for service. Every one of them. Nobody is doing it to be more beautiful than before. I know that for a fact. It's part of the exercise. So, Anusuya does it a short while, and Brinda Element of Vishaka is the youngest, so she stays more robust, so it does it longer. But everybody turns around and serve, and they cook prasad. So then the exercise is needed, because Bhaktivinoda Thakur says health comes first for the body. Health comes first, because if your health is not good, you can't do any service. So health comes first. And then your sadhana. You're chanting and obeying regulatory principles, because if you don't do that, you don't go back to Godhead. Next, the spiritual master's instruction, what you're supposed to do, because you have to obey Guru. And then the fourth is your own thing, what you want to do in service, like listen to the cell phone all night, your own ideas on how to serve. So that is important. Health stuff, it comes first. And for that matter, every item that you use, if you have a printer, so print stuff from, database in Krishna consciousness. You may print all kinds of things, family members, but as long as something is from Krishna or for Krishna or connected to Krishna, and that item has been used for it, you spiritualized it. And finally, even if you're doing a work that doesn't seem to connect with Krishna consciousness at all, I'm talking about your jobs. But if you take some of the Lakshmi, the paycheck from it, and you donate it to the temple, you spiritualize the entire job. So you really don't have, if you think through it, everything can be used in Krishna service. And if you do that, believe me, you're going back home. You're definitely going back home, because you're going to get the help that you need to improve your own bhakti. The more you serve, the more Krishna does for you. This is back and forth. You help, you do more from your heart, Krishna helps, and Krishna helps by improving your sadhana, improving your bhakti, and then you become, you enjoy it more, and it becomes a habit. It becomes a habit. Like what we talked about, listening to the mantra. If you make it a habit, that's it. Next time, you put it every day, you do that. As soon as, because your papa's japa, you definitely be hooked on it. It doesn't take, if you take seconds, then you're hooked. You're going to go on and on and on and on. But that's your papa's mantra you're listening to. That means you're hearing about Krishna, the mantra from the pure devotee. Now, it doesn't not put you closer to the spiritual world. It's obvious just by doing that. So, and you think more and more and more and more about these things. And believe me, one thing after another, Krishna will give you, Guru will give you ideas on how to use everything around you literally for service. And that's pretty much first class devotee, because they do that. Hare Krishna. Sorry,
Any follow-up on this? I just want to see if what you just said there, if there's any follow-up from any devotees, they wanted to ask any questions on that. It's an important point, very important point. The other thing I wanted to say is, as a father, I could really, I got a good laugh out of your story this morning about your daughter going, because we're always the last to know. We're always the last
to know. Now I have to order tires, good Michelin tires because you got Pirellis. Yeah, not so, but Michelin's are very good tires to snow. So now I was gonna order 2 Michelins to the front. Now because he's going, I'm ordering all 4 tires Michelin's. And I'll pay
Yeah,
for it because it's important now. And she's been driving for a year and a half. What does he know about the snow?
yeah,
She doesn't know how
yeah.
much trouble he's in, but I didn't know until just ran into her in the kitchen and she's rushing out. Talk
Yeah.
about technology and you know impersonalism. Anyway.
It's funny. It's funny. So with that,
Hmm.
oftentimes we hear that because of the, I guess, problems in the material world,
Mm.
um, relationships are for the most part oftentimes problematic, right? It's come together, it can bring us happiness, but it also a lot of times brings us a lot of misery.
Mm.
Get too many people in a room, next thing you know, people start arguing, people start fighting, and
Yeah.
then you think you found the love of your life, next thing you know, you're fighting, and then families, people fighting over money, colleagues fighting over a job, people.
Mm.
So it's almost like the material world drives you to a place of impersonalism where you just say, you know what, I don't want to deal with,
Any
I
of
just
these,
don't want
yeah.
to deal with people.
Hmm.
Give me my device, let me sit on it, and
Mm.
I can turn you on, I can turn you off, I can, and so how do we overcome that?
Well, let me since you talked about it, as soon as you talked about it, I remember one particular devotee in Giranagri. He came, he was new. Then I'll answer the question, but this quick point I want to be think about 30 seconds. Uh male body devotee, African American, and he seemed to be very disturbed. And all kinds of people kind of Giranagri. He seemed very disturbed. And one day we had a men's meeting. We're having men's meeting just like we do now, yearly this, but just for Giranagri, men's meeting. And when everybody was sharing, how they're feeling and all that, when he came to his turn and says, exactly what you said. I don't want to deal with people anymore. We said, why? Says, people are just too much. Give me, I will deal with the cows. So he's getting arguing. So he's thinking cows. You said gadgets because you're in the city. Says, I'll just the cows won't give me any trouble. So he actually dealt with stays with the cows so that he doesn't deal with people. It's not bad. Not people also devotees. He wouldn't even want to deal with devotees. He doesn't want to deal with devotees in a farm. He will go to the cows. So he made himself a cowherd boy. So you talk about trouble in people's minds. It's the way it is now. But you see, the way I look at it is, so it's bad. Then I tell myself, who asked you to come here? Did Krishna ask you to come here? You envied Krishna and now you're suffering. All right. So accept it. Accept it. I put myself in this mess. And now Shri Prabhupada is asking me, telling me how to get out of this mess. So I better do it so that it becomes this one lifetime and that's it. Because you can't stop it really. So whatever, and of course the other thing is that's a little bit helpful is sadhu sangha. Although this guy's case was, it was so bad he was gonna have sangha with cows because it's too much. It can be that bad, but at least many people. I mean, this is an extreme case. I heard about it. His name is Krishna Arjun, which is so many people can call Krishna Arjun, so you won't know who he is still. But that was his name, Krishna Arjun Das. Actually, Krishna Arjun, he wasn't initiated. He gave himself Krishna Arjun. So that's how weird he is. Yeah, and so he just cut off. He wouldn't use his name, and we could go on and on. Giranagi pastimes, books, book stuff. But anyway, so yeah, if we stay with devotees more, I'm talking about regular devotees, not Krishna Arjun. Regular devotees more, then we are in the atmosphere of Krishna because they are about Krishna. When you are with non-devotees, and for example, you start chanting your Gayatri, they're going to go, what? What are you doing? And I've been, I was chanting Gayatri, literally waiting. I'll say this one past time, waiting in a parking lot of a mall because Ansuya, my wife, was working at that time in the mall. And I was doing my Gayatri and I opened the car door and 2 security people saw me and I looked weird. So they came up to me and I have my Gayatri. I said, what are you doing? What should I do? I said, I'm praying. And they got even more, and you got a string. So I have to decide Brahman said to these 2 people in Harrisburg. I said, yeah, I'm actually a priest, and this is not just a regular thread, it's a sacred thread. He didn't believe it. They called Hex, which is like, Macy's and one of those, yeah. They called and took my wife's name, and they called to make sure there was an employee called my wife's name, and they to ascertain that it was true that I was in the parking lot waiting for my wife. Well, obviously they didn't understand the Brahman thread, but even if it's true, what I had to go through, literally waiting to pick up my wife, it's almost time to go back home. She's almost at the end of, and I came to pick her up to take her back to Giranagri, and it was almost it was 6 o'clock, and I'm waiting, and I chant my God, and this just by opening my car door so they could see me. This is what I get. Hmm? Now, if I was in the spiritual world, would that happen? Of course not. So, this is you just put up with it as best you can. It's called tolerance. You tolerate, right? Nectar of instruction. Tolerate as best. Be with devotees. Chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Serve to the best of your ability. So Guru can take you back. That's all we got left now. That's all we got left. And then we can enjoy the pastimes like these cowboy boys did, with Balaram getting it will happen then. But we have to be patient and do the right thing and wait it out. That's all. Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, can I say something along this line?
Mm-hmm.
You know why? I see a lot of people are interested in taking care of animals, because even my son, he loves animals more than people, I think.
Oh, this is true.
Yeah, and he's a very intelligent person. He went to Colombia, but he loves little animals. He went and got a pet, from the pound somewhere. Mm-hmm. And he spends hundreds and thousands of dollars for the pet. And
really? A lot of money. Yeah, it's. Oh, your son is that? So your grown son? This is a grown.
Oh yeah, I have two grown sons.
Okay,
yeah,
all
over
right.
35.
And one of the, are they devotees?
Well, they know Krishna, but they're not really.
They're not,
I am the only mother with all the thinking of Krishna.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you're thinking for them now. If you go back to Godhead, they also get liberated. All right. So you do your part. But they one of the things that people say, since you're talking about pets, and I'll be specific with dogs.
Yeah.
A lot of people walk their dogs.
Yeah.
And they would tell you, no, well, they won't tell you, but the point is, a dog will not argue with you. A dog is very loyal.
That's what he says.
Okay? Yeah, a dog is very loyal. I mean, they're kind of crazy. They can stop at any time and look at certain things. And people are so patient with them. We have dogs in my neighborhood here.
Yeah.
Townhouses. People walk their dogs. They're quite affluent here. A lot of BMWs and Lexus. A lot of them here. So, I watch them. They have all the patience in the world.
Yes, yes.
Now, they can't get that kind of patience with another human being. Believe me. Yeah. So that's why they love them. And so Papa says they are unfortunate because what would a dog do for you? Spiritually. What is it? Nothing.
Yeah.
And so Papa says, if you don't serve God, then you're going to serve dog. Exactly. Because we are wired to serve somebody. Humans are wired to serve somebody, something.
Yes.
And so if you want to serve Krishna, well, then you serve some of the material things. That's exactly what you're going to do.
They will be very patient, wherever the dog stops, then they will stop there and they'll pick up the poop, everything with right hand and hold the bag. Now, they do the service.
Yeah.
They don't want to do it, parents.
They don't want to do that. Rather than do deity service, you're picking up poop for the dog. And you can't go back to Godhead either.
That's what is that? No, of course, dog is loyal, and whoever comes, they will protect it will bark, and then it will say that save the house and everything. It's fine. But at the same time,
yes. Can I talk about barking? Can I talk about barking? Because Papa said this. We have to be careful about the time. I don't know when we're going to stop. But about barking, see, Papa made a point, and I just watched a short, video of it. Papa explaining to about 3-4, couple of them were brahmacharis, and one guy was a visitor. And Papa explaining to come to the human platform. The human platform means you have to be able to discriminate. You have to have intelligence to discriminate. And then he went, but animals are not like that. If you don't discriminate, you're like an animal. And nobody knew where he was going. Then he gave an example. He said the dog. The dog may be loyal, but at 3 o'clock in the morning, If the dog feels something, he start barking and not understand that he's going to wake up people.
Take me
He
out.
doesn't have that sense. So here's your loyal dog, waking everybody up. It's so ridiculous. If you don't do material things, it is absolutely ridiculous. So now you know why Papa says, Yashatma Budi kuna pay to that, okay? Sadi Kalata, the Shuboma is steady, Yatete Budi, Salili and the Kaisi, Ganeshu, Abigeshu, Saeba Gukara. If you do all these material things, you're like a dog, donkey, Saeba Gukara. Go is cow, and Kara is donkey. So if you do all of these material things, you're looking at an animal. This is Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 84.
No matter
Thank you,
whether it
Prabhu.
snows or rains or whatever it is, take me out. I have to go out.
Just,
You know
They
what,
will take
Prabhu?
the dog out. They will do
I mean,
the
we
same
can go
thing.
on and on. Just be Krishna conscious and follow what Guru says. Everything else doesn't make sense. That's why Papa
Prabhu,
said,
on
okay,
top of
we'll
it,
finish.
I have to start loving the dog, even though I don't care too much about it. That's why I don't have a pet. When he comes in, I have to really show my real affection. Okay, I offer the food to Krishna, then I have to be affectionate to him as well as the dog. If I don't treat the dog nicely, he won't come back here because he loves the dog. So I have to offer the prasadam.
So what you do, so I would suggest, exactly, you said it. Give him prasadam and give the dog prasadam. When both of them will be liberated. This is how you get out of that.
And the dog loved my puri, whatever I offered to Krishna. I said, oh
Wonderful.
my God, he loves my puri, all the things that I make. And I said, oh my God, he will come back again.
So you liberated that soul. You have really, so you just put up with it because you already liberated that soul by
I
giving
love
that
my son. I love my son.
Prabhu,
So
come back to the Bhagavatam.
Okay.
Prabhu, come back to the Bhagavatam.
Yeah, Donna Prabhu, we are 9 minutes after 9. Can we go on or it's up to you?
No, I think we got to wrap. I have to go in for a meeting.
Yeah. I know you're in your car already. Yeah, I can see that.
That's okay. But very nice class, Prabhu. We're very, very appreciative.
Thank you.
You take the time, from Harrisburg. It's always enlightening. So many, like I said, you excavated a lot of gems for us today.
Very nice class.
Krishna's mercy. See, because I know you now, so I know how to, and I can relate to you so well. That's why the other classes are like that. And then secondly, it's also pastimes of Krishna, so you can't beat that. Hare Krishna. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much for a nice class.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Just a reminder to everybody, tonight we have Bhagavad Gita tonight, 5:00.
Yeah.
It's our Bhagavad Gita happy hour. Balabhadra Prabhu will be leading this tonight. So if you are interested, please tune in at 5:00 on the same Zoom channel. Hare Krishna devotees.
Thank you very mumuch. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.